Hello, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter. Welcome as we dig in. We are your Michigan State Spartan athletic insiders. Remember, go to SpartanNation.com, the best place on the internet. Nobody covers your Spartans better for Sports Illustrated than SpartanNation.com. 17th year that this guy's joined me covering the Spartans. He's a Michigan State alum, decorated journalist, now a highly successful attorney in the Atlanta Buckhead area. The great Johnny Shop. Johnny, good to have you. And again, I'm Hondo Carpenter. I am a college football and basketball senior writer on SI. John, let's talk about it. Both of us excited. Michigan State goes out, gets a big win against Western. Let's not pretend it was like beating Michigan or Ohio State, but I want to talk to you about a couple things that stood out to me, and I'd love your thoughts. First of all, I don't think this is a Big Ten championship team, but I said if Michigan State got to a bowl game last year, it'd be one of the best coaching jobs in history at Michigan State. They didn't get there, but a lot of people were disappointed how the season ended, the way the team looked. I said on local East Lansing radio, I've said it on national, that Michigan State needed to come out and they needed to do what improving teams do and take care of Western. I said they weren't playing Western. They were playing themselves. I thought they represented themselves well. I thought the defense looked good. I thought the ability to run the ball. I thought Aiden Childs, you saw him throw the ball away and avoid some interceptions. Now, I think there were times you saw him hold the ball a little bit too long and took too many hits. Overall, though, for a first game, what I was looking for, I gave it a B+. I was happy, A- right in there. I'd love your thoughts.
You're looking for something pretty clean. You don't want anybody to get hurt, especially with some of the early season injuries that Michigan State has had in the past. You didn't like the fact that they could not stop, I think, Tucker, the pass rusher for Western. They couldn't find anybody to stop him.
No.
I thought Childs took too many hits. It's one thing to be sacked. It's another to take hits. But there was a lot of good. There was a lot more good than bad overall. And quite frankly, the defense, it's been a while.
Yeah.
So after a year last year where they were solid with some numbers to support it, this is a really good start. And it's also nice to see Jordan Hall taking a big step and hopefully going from here to have a fantastic career the rest of the way at Michigan State. But what was this? Well, this is this is a little bit of like having an exam for the players because they've got winter ball, they've got spring ball, they've got fall practice. How much did you get right? We're finding out. How many linemen made the right move off the snap? How many linemen had the hand placement they were coached to have? The interesting thing is everyone knows that Jonathan Smith especially knows how to coach offense, knows what he's looking for. And there's a lot of support that he's got a really good staff. And of course, everybody returning, the coordinators returning as well. So for some guys, maybe they had jitters. Those jitters better get gone fast. This team and this program are looking to take a significant step. And I think that the heart of it is not only Aiden Childs, it is the offensive line. Jim Mahalchik is arguably the most valuable guy that Michigan State has, and really the most important that they have on staff, because if you have any chance to compete in the Big Ten with the big boys, you're going to have to line up and provide some kind of protection to produce some kind of output against Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, etc. But really Penn State and Ohio State. I mean, good God. And then you got, if you get far enough, you might bump into an Oregon or perhaps a Washington. Overall, I think it was a pretty good opener. You know, we're conditioned because of our age and because of our extensive coverage during the D'Antonio era. We're pretty conditioned on less than polished openers. So this one wasn't so polished that you're like, somebody's going to get a big head, but it also wasn't so rocky that they didn't look prepared to play.
Yeah.
I think it was a pretty solid start with some good signs. And some guys, to be honest with you, some guys are probably now, they're going to see their names moving on the depth chart up and down because of what they did. Again, all that work really from the end of last year. It's like, all right, now show us in the game. I expect to see things tighten up quickly. I know you're about to say what you always say, the biggest improvement comes from week 1 to week 2. I tend to think it may be 2 to 3, but I know I'm an outlier there. but go ahead and say it and then prepare as a benchmark. We should see a significant step in a tighter looking operation next week in what will be a more competitive game.
So let me say this. I loved that they're halfway through the fourth quarter and they subbed in the backup quarterback. Obviously, they lost the shutout on the pick six that he threw. But what I liked was, how many times did we bemoan when Mark D'Antonio was coach? They didn't prepare the backups. And that's why you come into halfway through the fourth quarter, you got the big shutout. Okay, I'm not blaming that on the first string. Your new quarterback throws a pick six. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because I'd rather them throw it in a game where they're going to win than throw it in a game where Childs gets injured and, oh my gosh, we've not given this guy any reps. I was okay with it. I don't think I'm a glass half full guy, but what are your thoughts there?
The first thought to mind is it provides an extraordinary coaching point for Jonathan Smith to hammer on. This team was 114th in turnover margin last year. 114th. So, can we forget about that? Oh, not at all. We're reminded of that here in game one. This is actually, it's a great coaching point. He's going to be able to coach to it that, hey, we had huge issues with turnovers last year. This is one. So, negative play, but actually maybe be able to spun into a positive. There should be no inflated ego after this week. Everybody knows what has to be done. I really like looking at the stats from last year, and you can see the only thing that stood out with the Michigan State defense was the scoring defense was number 72. But part of that ties into the fact that the offense was 123rd in scoring. Those two kind of go a little bit hand in hand. So what we need to see is a serious step up from the offense. Obviously, we saw a couple of new receivers catching the ball that looked good, including the reasonably sized tight end subbing for Jack Velling. I'm not bothered by the turnover. I'm more impressed by the defense. I did not think that they would necessarily be that tight and that sharp, but this thing's got a compound on itself, and I really look for the orchestration, as you used to like to talk about the offensive line, the orchestration of that thing. How fast can Michalczyk and Jonathan Smith find the five that they want to start with? And what kind of experience did those guys have last year? When they settle in on a starting line, I think it's going to be interesting to take a look and see where these guys came from. Were they guys that they intentionally redshirted last year? Or are those guys still a little further back? Or were they guys from a transfer portal there to fill in a hole? They know now what they've got to do in the Big Ten. They know the level of play, the level of physicality they have to measure up in. And we're not going to go pat them on the back for hanging in there with Ohio State in the first half last year, but we talked on this show about some of the decent play that they had early in some of those bigger games. The first big test is next week. We want to see, all the fans want to see what progress is made. Common opponent, easy place to do it.
John, the only real problem I had in the game that bothered me, and I liked Aiden Childs. I think he took too many hits, but he certainly looked much better than last year. His decision making was better. I was very happy with that. But after the pick six, the special teams kept them out in the 2-point conversion, but then they went for the onside kick and got it. That was concerning to me. I understand it's a crapshoot, but that was the only place to me where they looked unprepared. That was the only place. And if you're going to under 3 minutes in the fourth quarter on an onside kick, when you have a insurmountable lead, but I still don't like to see it. That was the only place I thought where they look ill prepared. I thought it was an overall very solid performance. I'd love your thoughts.
I think so. Now, for the younger folks out there, we are a little bit old. And as a contributor emeritus, I go back some decades. And I think that I've seen the very best onside kick in the history of college football that Michigan State's been involved in, the Central Michigan game. Very perfect onside kick. That wasn't a perfect onside kick. That was sloppy. That is a coaching point, but special teams matter at Michigan State. If you're trying to make a jump from we didn't make a bowl to solidly in a bowl, or maybe pushing for 10 wins or more, which I think is the absolute ceiling for this team, your special teams cannot be a detriment. So hopefully they take it as a coaching point so it doesn't happen again. Not a great look for this level of program, this staff, to be honest with you, this level of a salary pool. That to me is one thing that this year is interesting for, because some of us think, hey, maybe Michigan, it almost looks like they overpaid for their assistants when they signed up with Jonathan Smith. And now you can say the Big Ten's got all the money in the world. That's just the way it is. That's the way it's always going to be in the Big Ten. But some of these guys have a pretty large contract to live up to. I know that Jonathan Smith knows the stage that he's on, the stage he wants to play in. Some of these guys, I believe, are under the gun more this year to show progress and development. Obviously, it's one game, one play, but you don't want to see your special teams slip, because some of us are old enough to have tracked when special teams was like the first thing to slip before an entire thing, really an entire season followed behind.
You know that I am a big fan and a proponent of Jonathan Smith. I was the one that told Alan Haller, I think, I don't think they should have hired Mel Tucker. I love Jonathan Smith. To me, I think he did what he needed to do. He showed the team had made the progress tonight.
Yes. Yeah. And look, this is a guy that a lot of people like. And talk about it being a developmental program. You talk about coaching something, coaching a position. He spent so much time coaching quarterbacks at Washington, developing his method under Coach Pete, taking it to Oregon State. This is a year, and this is a game I think that Jonathan Smith can take some satisfaction that, okay, I saw some evidence of the work we've done, of player development, of my staff getting it done, but also plenty of things to coach on. Again, late in the game, turnover, special teams blunder, onside kick. So there's a lot of good. This was not a dominant performance, like blowing your socks off. And to be honest with you, I didn't really want to see one of those. I wanted to see them figure some things out, namely who is going to be on the offensive line. We don't want to be coming back weeks down the road saying that was a warning sign at Western. The pass rush, one outstanding pass rusher. We don't want to be saying that was a warning sign for what was to come. They got some work to do, but I got really good confidence that they're going to find the five that they think can protect Childs best and produce a productive running game. But I think it's the importance is in that order.
Big look ahead right now to Boston College next week. I think this is a game. I think they're going to win it. I'm excited about it for Michigan State. I think it's a way to get, feel good about themselves, 2-0, and really get going. What do you think about next week? Let's look ahead real quick.
You know what I think? And this comes with some maturity and decades looking at this and covering this. I think Michigan State has got to be careful, and fans should be careful not to think how great that's going to be. Do not underestimate the improvement Bill O'Brien is expecting from year one to year two. This is a fantastic football coach. This is a guy with extraordinary NFL experience, enough college experience now to know what he's doing. Do not think that Boston College is going to come in without the emotional support of last year's game, which is a special game for them, without the weather. But don't think they're not coming in improved significantly. I hope Michigan State takes this on thinking that Boston College team that we played last year, as much as we think we're going to be better this year, and as much as we've said we're going to be better than we were last year against Boston College, you better be ready for Boston College to come in and play up just as much, meaning they're thinking we're going to be much better than we were last year. Bill O'Brien's a fine coach. I like this coaching matchup a lot. These are two really good offensive coaches, and it's exciting to see a relatively big game this early, but I do not want, and I do not advise Spartan fans to get a little bit confident about how much better they're going to be than last year. You are going up against an NFL coach. You better expect him to bring it too.
Totally agree. Remember, go to SpartanNation.com. You can find me at Hondo Carpenter on X. John, where can they find you on X?
Still doing it at JP Spartan.
See you all there. Thank you.